Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm a teacher and author, and this is English Nerd. So the summertime is almost upon us, and I wanted to give you a few recommendations for classic books that hold up as summertime reads. A lot of classics, I feel like, sure, you can read them in the fall, you can read them in the winter, but in the summertime, tastes kind of change with the weather. So I have several recommendations for you. So whatever kind of summer reader you are, you can find one of these classic books that will fit your mood this summer as you are reading. All right, so I'm going to kick things off with Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Lord of the Flies is the story of a boys' school who gets shipwrecked on an island, and so it is, well, not really shipwrecked, they're part of a plane crash, but they are wrecked on an island, and things go really poorly, so it's basically an island survival story, but not focused so much on survival in terms of food and shelter as it is from your own inner darkness. It's one of the easiest classics to read. It's really accessible, and the language is beautiful. It takes you to this island where bad things happen. So we're kicking things off with Lord of the Flies. Okay, next up we have Much Ado About Nothing. It has a total summertime vibe. Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare is the story of these people living in Italy and the mishaps that they have in love. It's quite short. It is one of Shakespeare's easier plays, I think, to get your head around if you just open it up and start reading. However, if that's not your cup of tea, or if you're not used to reading Shakespeare that way, which I totally understand, it's an acquired taste, it can be a little bit difficult, then you can just watch a movie. The Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson version is classic for a reason. All kinds of celebs kind of pop up. You have Denzel Washington, you have Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves, but he's not a Shakespearean actor. But anyway, it's a fabulous movie. You can check out Much Ado About Nothing. My favorite scene is the garden scene. You know it if you know it. Next up, we have a children's classic, because, I like to throw those in here. A good book is a good book regardless of how deep and dark it is. So I'm going to recommend The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis, part of the Chronicles of Narnia. The most well-known book in the Chronicles of Narnia, of course, is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and this includes some of the same characters, but really, the Chronicles of Narnia is more of an anthology series of interconnected standalones, I would say. Yes, there are references to events and characters from before, but you can pretty much read them all independently of one another. So The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is what it says. It is a voyage upon this magical, well, I guess the ship itself is maybe not magical, but it has a magical crew, they have magical adventures. There is a deeper meaning in all of that as you go on, but it's really just it's a super fun adventure. This was probably my favorite of the Chronicles of Narnia when I was growing up. I just thought it was so swashbuckling and fun, and hopefully you think the same if you have not read Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Next is pivoting pretty heavily. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and, I try to consume the more, responsible kind of podcasts that are actually helping people and seeing everyone as human beings and not just this spectacle to be observed. And so I was wanting a book that was like a true crime podcast. And so I read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote just a few months ago for the first time. It's called a nonfiction novel, and I get why now. It's an incredibly unique piece of art about a real crime that happened to the Clutter family in Kansas. It is definitely a horrific crime, so if stuff like that is not your cup of tea, skip over this recommendation. But I found it absolutely fascinating. The amount of research that Truman Capote did for this book, the likes, the dislikes, the look, the ethos of the town, everybody in the family, the two criminals who perpetrated the crime, the people who are investigating. I mean, it is looked at from so many different angles, and you end up getting this whole tapestry of the crime and all of the effects that it has on everyone involved. I mean, it's hard and it's brilliant, but if you are somebody who listens to that kind of thing and you're looking for a book that sort of mirrors that, this has a novel-like feel, but it's almost like watching a documentary as well. Just give it a try if any of this sounds interesting to you. Next is The Awakening by Kate Chopin. So all of these recommendations are really, really different, but like I said, you should find something that kind of floats your boat among these recommendations. So The Awakening, once again, is very different. It is a feminist story about a woman who feels stifled by the confines of her life in Louisiana around like the very late 1800s, and she has an awakening, and it's what happens as she's wrestling with what it means to be a woman in this society. The language is really think about Louisiana heat and maybe a drink. It's kind of, just give it a try. You'll see what I'm talking about. If that sounds interesting to you, go for it. It was fairly melancholy, and there were things I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. I had some kind of mixed feelings about it, so give it a try, see what you think about The Awakening. And then last but not least is The Pilgrim, A Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard. Whew, is a mouthful. I have not read the entire book, full disclosure, but I have read parts of it. I've read excerpts from Annie Dillard, and it is just beautiful. It is nonfiction. It's a memoir about her time in the Roanoke Valley and the observations that she made. She has a very scientific mind on the one hand. She loves getting into the nitty-gritty of scientific observation, biological observation, but she also has a very poetic side to her as well. And so the marriage of those is just, it's like Walden 2.0. There are a couple sorry Thoreau. There are a couple chapters of Thoreau's Walden that are really wonderful, and then he just starts talking about the temperature of the ponds and not bringing it back like I would have liked to some ideas about life in the same way that Annie Dillard is able to in Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. So if you like that kind of nature memoir, maybe you're going to do some camping or traveling to national parks or something like that, then Pilgrim at Tinker Creek is the book I would recommend that you pick up. Again, all of these that I've suggested are fairly accessible classics. They're not the deepest, the darkest that we see in some of my other recommendation videos. But yeah, pick up one of these books and tell me what you thought. If you have any other ideas for recommendation videos, a theme for another set of recommendations, then please do let me know down below in the comments. Otherwise, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.